Chapter 6, Before the Sanhedrin. In this chapter, we will discover a little bit more about our own selves. Soul becomes the mirror of our pride and selfishness. Well, in the previous chapter, we got to know the soul and Sadok were visiting the Church of the Way. And there, he met Stephen for the first time. Well, by listening to Stephen's preaching, he became very upset. His pride was wounded because of the eloquence and the truth that was exposed by Stephen. Well, at the very end, he felt he was hurt deep in his pride. So then, he decided what ways to bring Stephen to the Sanhedrin. He thought by bringing Stephen to the Sanhedrin, he would put him down, because then he would be in front of the people who would be well versed in the laws of Moses, and once then he would defeat him. He invited Stephen to come to the Sanhedrin to discuss at the tribune about the teachings. But as he follows Jesus' teachings, he refused it as many times as needed. After many invitations, well, Saul was even more upset by the refusal. So then, in his arrogance and pride, hurt as he was, he puts together a plan to bring him to the Sanhedrin. This is the pride and selfishness that the illuminated spirits talk to us in the Spirit's book. They say pride and selfishness is the root cause of all ills in life. It's probably ours as well. How often those are the root causes of our suffering as well. Well, he then got to get a legal action towards Jesus' followers. And Stephen was obliged to come and speak before the Sanhedrin. Emmanuel describes Stephen's perception of the Sanhedrin at the time. He says it was luxurious, it was a wealthy temple, and then he was immediately reconnecting with Jesus' teachings about the parable of the lost sheep. He said, these are probably the lost sheep that Jesus mentioned, that the Master mentioned. The ones that teach about spirituality or religiosity, but they're more attached to material teachings than actually the spiritual ones. Because not only the temple is wealthy, but also all that matters are external rites and rituals. Do we actually need them? Or are they just there to nourish our pride and selfishness and separate us from everyone else who probably at the time do not agree with the same mindset? Well, once he was there, he started this, conversation about the teachings. Saul was trying in every possible way to come and break the logics of Stephen, but it was impossible. So impossible that he got to know so many things that were so different from his understanding on spirituality. For example, Stephen shared with us that the so-called Israel that the Hebrews at the time thought as the promised, people, the chosen ones by God, actually means, in his very own words, the whole humanity. The whole humanity is Israel for God himself. So there are no chosen ones. There are no privileged people. Even if we don't know the names of the people who are the prophets, still we're children of God. And that's what Stephen was bringing about. Something that really made the Pharisees of the time ever more furious. Especially when he mentioned that Jesus' teachings were of love and unity, of brotherhood and fraternity. For them, they wanted really to put him down, to kill him, because he was really creating a whole lot of conflict inside of everyone. Well, in that saying, Saul was wounded in his pride, and then, as everyone who is wounded in the pride and has no other reasonable measure, he was brutal. He punched Stephen in the face. Stephen was calm and he didn't react. He acted. He was calm. And in that saying, it brings to us the realization, are we mostly in life acting or reacting? Are we taking action towards what life is presenting to us? Or are we like Saul, motivated by our most primal instincts? Though very loyal to what he understood as the law of Moses, still he was fueled by these primal instincts. How do we get rid of them? How do we overcome them? The teachings of spirituality can be very helpful. When Allan Kardec asked the spirits in the Spirit's book, how can we get rid of our selfishness? The superior spirits very wisely, as great educators of humanity, they said, we cannot exterminate it. We wouldn't say so, but we can diminish it. We can decrease its power by getting to know of the spiritual laws of life, by getting to know of the spiritual reality inside of all of us. And that's why we are here. So we'd like to suggest that you now, either by yourself or among your friends in your group, that you take this CD, the Inner Journey CD, by the medium Divaldo Franco, inspired by his mentor Joana de Angelis. The Inner Journey CD of Therapeutic Visualizations, actually it's track number 3 for Inner Balance. It's a track in which Joana de Angelis leads us into getting rid and overcoming of our most primal instincts. Let us work on it, meditate on it, as we dive into one more chapter of this phenomenal book, Chapter 7.